Hey everyone, how's it going? It's that nerd Ryan here, and today we are talking about Clerks 3. I saw this movie in theaters with my friend, and let me just say this. After the movie, we spent 45 minutes outside talking about it. That's how good this movie is. My friend gave it a 10 out of 10. Um, I'll talk about my ranking and everything in a minute. There are spoilers for this movie, so please, if you haven't seen the movie, do not watch this video. Go and see the movie on however it's going to be, because it was only on 2 nights in the movie theater. And then come watch this video, and we could talk in the comments about what you think about it. But yeah, this movie is a lot. It's very funny. It also is very emotional of a movie. So this takes place 30 years after the first movie, and the whole premise is that they decide to basically make the first movie. But a lot of stuff kind of happens to the characters in that 30 years and in that movie. And it's like a roller coaster. We go through some very high up funny moments, especially with Jay and Silent Bob, and some really quick one-liners, and then really emotional sad moments, mainly with the two main characters of Dante and Randall, where like I was happy I brought my friend, because if I didn't, I'd be bawling. I was very much so trying to hold back tears during those sad moments, because they were, I mean, like, I wouldn't put the Askewverse in like my top 5 favorite cinematic universes, but still this movie made you feel like very well about the characters. There's also, really quick before we do spoiler talk, there's a very funny part in the movie where Randall is talking to the actress that played Pelly in The Mandalorian. She's playing a different character in the movie, but she is talking to Randall, and she plays Pelly in The Mandalorian, and they're talking about The Mandalorian, and she's like, never seen the show, the Star Wars show, whatever, blah, blah, like going on, and it was so funny to me. I had to explain it to my friend that was Pelly, because, like, I just love when they have, like, actresses or actors playing characters, but they still acknowledge other stuff that they're in, which I did a Marvel video on that a long time ago. I kind of want to refresh that, but like, yeah, like, it's fun to know that, like, even with having an actress that was in The Mandalorian in there, The Mandalorian still exists, which is just by far hilarious. Okay, let's talk about the story and get into spoilers. Again, if you haven't seen this movie, watch it before continuing on, because I do not want to spoil the ending, or any major plot aspects of it, besides like the goofy parts of them making the movie and stuff. So it starts out that they're still working at the Park and Stop, or the Quick Stop, that they bought out, and we find out almost instantly that Rosario Dawson's character passed away about 18 years ago, or 14 years ago. So almost immediately after Clerks 2, she died. So Dante's dealing with that throughout the movie. Elias is still working with them. He has his own Silent Bob now, and they're trying to make Christian crypto coins. So that's their whole thing. Jay and Silent Bob own the VHS store next door, which is now a THC store. And the funny part about that is they're trying to sell drugs outside of the store, because that's how they did it in the 90s, and I guess it just doesn't feel right to them to sell inside the store, and they treat it like it's still a drug deal. So, like, the guy wanted to buy something, so he goes over and he, like, hides the money. Jay goes over and hides the money and walks it over to Bob and passes it to him, and then Bob fakes sneezing, giving him the weed. He walks over to the guy and, like, shoves it in his hand. He's like, go, go, go. He's like, you know it's legal now. He's like, that's how we did it in the 90s, son. It's just it's so stupid. But yeah, and then we get to the point where Randall has a heart attack. And what's kind of funny about it is Elias kind of prays to God to have Randall smited as Randall has the heart attack, or before Randall has the heart attack. He gets the Widowmaker heart attack, which is where we meet the doctor that the actress that played Pelly's playing. And it's like a 80% chance that Randall would die, but he survived. And then we set up that if Dante is eating the same way that he is, he's at risk for a heart attack as well. But we also see a flashback of them rushing Rosario Dawson's character, Max, into the ER, saying there's multiple lacerations and blah, blah, blah. We get a flashback of that. And they don't really mention a lot of what happens. It's revealed slowly throughout the movie, but there is a line that confused me, and we'll talk about that in a minute, because that is like the only issue that I have with the movie, is that they killed Rosario Dawson off screen, and then another character that they just mention, and you don't really know who this character is. But anyways, so Randall makes it out, and he goes, you know what? I've done nothing but watch movies in my life. It's time to make a movie. So they decide to start making Clerks 1, which is, they're going to call it Inconvenience instead. And, like, Randall writes the script, and they basically do a bunch of throwbacks from the first movie and the second movie, like the 37 Dicks and the stuff like that. And they actually bring back, like, I think it was all the customers that they had in the first movie come back in this. Like, the same actors, or people. Because there was a documentary at the end of the movie that was talking about how it's, like, none of these people were actors, and they were just coming in. But yeah, so they returned. And we also get the actress that played Terry coming back. And we get a casting scene that's full of cameos. Get a ton of cameos in it. I can't remember everybody right now, but Melissa Benoist was in it. Ben Affleck was in it. Fred Astaire, I think. No, not Fred Astaire. The guy from Saturday Night Live that does a bunch of character acting. He's in it. And just a bunch of other people are in this, which is hilarious. And then they just decide, you know what, everybody should just play themselves in this. So they did that, and they get Jay and Silent Bob to be the cinematographer and stuff like that, along with acting out some scenes and everything. Then they go through making the movie in this, and also arguing between Randall and Dante. We then find out that like Dante visits Max's grave and sees that, and she kind of talks him up of, hey, don't hold the torch for me. You got to live your life, be happy, blah blah blah. And then we go and, like, they continue making the movie because Dante finds money for them to make it. He puts his half of the convenience store up as collateral, talking to his ex to get the money. And then in that, I forgot to mention the whole Elias plot. So Elias renounces Jesus and becomes a Satanist while Randall is having his heart surgery. So the whole time, Elias is dressing up hilariously and basically being a Satanist, which is very funny. Throughout all his, like, outfits and everything, they're like references to other movies like Blade Runner and Rocky Horror, or some of them, and then, like, just how he dresses through the whole thing is hilarious. So anyways, they continue making the movie, and then they decide to shoot a scene at Movies, and what happens there is Dante can't go in because that's the last, like, the good memories they had with Rosario Dawson's character and everything. So he ends up getting drunk and everything. Then him and Randall go back to the convenience store to shoot the rest of it, and they end up having a big fight because Dante's drunk, And then they shoot the scene, and Dante just loses it on Randall and starts screaming at him about how, like, all he does is complain and blah, 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 blah. And then Dante has a heart attack, the same exact one as Randall. And they bring him to the hospital and everything. And when Randall starts rethinking everything that he was going through, he edits the movie and sneaks it into the ER and lets Dante watch it. And when Dante watches it, he imagines himself sitting with Rosario Dawson, watching it, enjoying it and everything, and then Dante passes away. And then after that, they have the funeral scene and everything, and then Elias ends up making $1 million off of the crypto that they made, and he buys the other half of the convenience store. And that's how the movie ends. So yeah, it gets very emotional and very, very sad. Like I said, I'm choking up right now just talking about it. But yeah, because it really hits your heart. It really does. But yeah, so I'm not going to do the 5 ranks. I'm just going to do the 1 rank. I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10. The only issue that I had was when Dante finally said that Max died from a drunk driver. He said, "I lost Max and Grace." From what I remember, there's no mention of a Grace throughout the other 2 movies. So I don't know who this Grace character was. Like, was it their daughter? Were they bringing the daughter in separately in the first scene, or was she pregnant with the daughter when she died? And they didn't explain that. I got really, really confused, and like that kind of stuck in the whole movie. I'm like, rest of the movie, I'm like, wait, who's Grace? What the heck's going on? If he's worried about her, why is he not seeing his daughter either? But I mean, that's my only complaint, so that's why it's a 9.5 out of 10. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below. It's that Nerd Ryan telling you, have an amazing day.